All right, Broncos country, what is going on? Despite the Broncos getting absolutely obliterated, hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I am joined here by none other than my friends Mark at Marky Sports, Jeremy Otten. Thanks again for your time tonight, guys. We're going to break down what went wrong. Where do we go from here? Moving on to Kansas City. At least we catch them on a short week. They play tomorrow, but guys who are watching, please be sure to smash that like on this video on Mark's channel as well. Subscribe and join the conversation in the comments. I mean, we want to hear what y'all's takeaways are from this game. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it in our usual format. Let's go maybe just high level takeaways from this game, or just whatever is top of mind. Mark, let's start with you, and then of course we'll go to Jeremy. Hear what you guys got to say.
Yeah, man, it was humbling. I feel like I was humbled as a fan today when you get smashed the way that we got smashed. Versus the Ravens. But when you kind of take a step back, I kind of rewatched the game, which was always tough to do, but I think it's always a good thing to do. You realize that the game really got out of hand, but it got out of hand because of just the same boneheaded dumb stuff that we've been doing all year. And to me, what really stood out is, last week when Sean Payton was all mad after the post game, right? And he was just like, even though we won, he was pissed because he was like, these mistakes are going to get you killed versus a good team. This is exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Because it could have been, we could have gone into halftime down 3 points. Instead, because we make just boneheaded, dumb plays, we end up going into half down by 14. And at that point, team just quit and gave up. So frustrating day overall, but a lot to learn, a lot to build from. People don't forget that this Ravens team beat the Bills 38-10, absolutely smashed them on primetime. And, whether you get beat by 31 or you get beat by 6, a loss is a loss, you move on. I think this team will learn a lot from this, and we'll move forward, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said exactly right. What I said the end of last week's pod. I said, if you half-ass it, you're gonna get smoked, and that's what happened. I mean, we said last week. You can look at it. They lost the Browns miraculously, and we could say, oh, they're either going to be very motivated, or maybe we're catching them when they're not playing their best. They were motivated. And we had a window there where after Jonathan Franklin Myers gets that sack and keeps them from scoring points on that first drive, and we get the ball back after that ridiculous interception on which little Jordan Humphrey, I'm gonna start calling him Little Effort Humphrey, because seriously, that putting your hand, alligator arming, you're like the tallest, biggest guy on the field, and for you not to be stretching out and getting like balls that are thrown right to you, one in the end zone, the one that led to an interception. Why are you here? Literally, the only person on the planet that seems to believe in you is like giving you like chance after chance after chance. And what do you keep doing? Not much, or blowing it. I mean, to fumble last week and then to come out on the first play and be like, well, no big deal, I'll just half-heartedly do it again. It's like, I'm done. I'm done with him. I'm done with Javonte Williams. There's so many different guys on the field today that I'm like, I'm ready to be, I'm just ready to be done with them, because you're not going to beat a team like that just half-assing it. You're not going to. And it seemed like the only people that were trying, like giving everything, like it was just driving me so nuts, because after the game, there's people out there that are being like, oh, see, told you, Bo Nix. And you're like, are you kidding? The one guy who's literally doing everything on the field, giving you full effort on everything, that's the person you're going to try to start to blame? The defense couldn't stop a cold. Like, they got exposed. It was a rough one. It was a rough one. And maybe this is what you need down the stretch, because if you start feeling yourself, oh, we won 5 of the last 6, whatever. Well, you found out reality today. That was a measuring stick game, like we said, and you found out exactly where you're at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably my biggest takeaway after the Panthers game, you're feeling good about the offense, obviously. But Mark, I love the fact that you brought up, that Sean Payton said, if we still play this way, we're not beating the good teams in the NFL. And we saw that this team kind of came out and gave that same level of non-execution, to be quite frank. And I still maintain this is that I think making the playoffs is totally gettable. No doubt about it. We still control our own destiny. But if we make the playoffs in one of these wild card spots, this offense is striking no fear into any of these playoff teams. And playoff defenses are going to have their way with us. And I think today was it's gut check time, I think, for this offense and honestly for the front office, because I think this coaching staff has been tolerating. That's how I feel about it. They've been tolerating the poor level of focus, specifically from the wide receiver position. And I mean, again, somebody brought this up in Zach Seeger's show that I did with him earlier today, but it's like, as crazy as it is, Hunter Renfro's still out there. Like, um, I wouldn't mind seeing A.T. Perry again. Like, these are liabilities on the field right now for us, and if you're replacing a liability with another liability, I don't really understand how bad that can get. People say, "Oh, Jordan Humphrey's important in the run game." Well, we can't run the ball. How important is his blocking game when we have no balance on offense? So, I don't know, guys. Kiri Colbert, I talked about this earlier, but and honestly, the Broncos running backs coach, they're both in their first NFL jobs, both in their second year, started with the Broncos last year. I think if there are two groups that we look at that just the groups as a whole, they lack discipline. They fumble the ball. They have drops. There's not really improvement with the young players in both of those rooms. I think you got to start looking at some of these position coaches and wondering if we need to get somebody that has more experience and that has done it at this level, because right now it's just not cutting it for the standard that I think that we expect, and honestly that Sean Payton should expect.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's very frustrating when you're kind of, it's almost like the definition of insanity. But I do get it. I get it why, Sean Payton has shown, and one of the reasons why my opinion on him overall has really flipped 180, because I really wasn't a big Sean Payton guy when we had first hired him. I didn't think that he would full on commit to a rebuild. I thought he wanted to kind of come in, see if he could fix the team, and then if they're not fixable, he would just leave. But I love the fact that he's committed to rebuild, and I get that he's really patient, but there's got to come a time where there's got to be some sense of accountability. You just can't keep having the exact same things haunt you and, cost you games, or, just completely flip the momentum of a game, and by things that are so much in the control of these players. And it's just really frustrating. And I think at some point you got to say, okay, this goes beyond coaching. I think Sean Payton has a track record. I think he's coached enough football to where he knows, you can coach these guys only so hard, but if it's not translating onto the field, then it's the players, not necessarily the coaching staff. And a lot of these players have been with multiple coaching staffs who've been terrible in the past. So at some point we got to just say, hey, maybe it's the players. It's not always the coaches. And yeah, so it was frustrating overall. But there was a lot of things that I really loved. Like, I really did genuinely love to see from this Broncos offense, especially early on. I thought we were moving the ball so well. It was just basically 3 turnovers, right? You have the fumble or the tip pass from little Jordan Humphrey that resulted in a pick, and then you get, turned over on 4th down 2 times. Man, if I'm telling you guys, if those 2 things don't happen, like at least 2 of those 3, which were very, like, you're talking about inches, it's a completely different ball game, completely different. But yeah, and the defense today showed their true colors. I was really worried about that. I thought the defense, what was frustrating for me about the defense wasn't so much that they got torched, because I felt like this was a terrible matchup for them. but I didn't see any of that fire and that confidence that you see this team, flying around doing defensively. They just kind of gave up. So
Yeah, it was tough, man. We didn't make outside of that John Franklin Myers play, our defense never made a play in crunch time, to hold them.
no,
And
not at all.
yeah, Lamar looked amazing. The passing game looked amazing. Derrick Henry was getting going, and yeah, I thought for a moment there to begin the second half, I'm like, man, are they going to hang up 50, 60 points on us at this rate? And luckily, they took out Lamar Jackson with 10 minutes or something left to go in the fourth quarter. But yeah, it was just one of those games where I think the game plan, of course, you can question that, and the effort. I don't know, there's not many silver linings. I don't think to take into this game other than that, hey, Sean Payton's right. If you come and play like you're playing the Panthers when you're going into Baltimore, this is what happens. Jeremy?
Yeah, I thought Vance called the worst game of the season. You just didn't adjust.
Yeah.
What is he like? It felt like the Miami game where it's just like, hey, this isn't working. Let's keep doing it. And you're like, hey, this isn't what we normally call. Let's keep calling that. We blitzed on 29% of our defensive snaps, and that is way, way low for this team. And I felt like it took some of the aggressiveness out of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just look, here's the truth of it. Lamar Jackson played amazing today. He was on fire. That being said, every time he threw it to somebody, they were doing so much extra. Zay Flowers, he could have had 500 yards today if they would have kept throwing it to him. That dude was torching Shaquan McMillan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they got real juice.
Every time they threw to a tight end wide open, every time. It was just, and then when he does want to throw it, just hand it off to the back who's averaging 6.3 yards a carry for the season. It just goes to show you, Lamar Jackson's very good, but when everybody around him is amazing, it's so much easier. Yeah, just complete the passes. The thing that just drives me absolutely nuts is we don't get anything extra ever. Courtland Sutton has, at least he's at least running the right routes and knowing when to break and catching the balls. But dude, that guy, once he catches the ball, cannot wait to go down. Cannot wait. He's looking to, let me not get hit and let me get the easiest down I can. He's not ever getting extra yards or breaking off some sort of, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Never. He's looking to go down. And maybe that's because of the injuries. I don't know. It's easy for me to say that, but I'm just saying, dynamic weapons. He's supposed to be our number one. He's not giving us anything extra. Our running backs, running into the back of your own people and then falling down. I'm so done with it. To see Audric Estime actually having a little bit of patience at the end of that game and getting extra yards, and that one he almost broke because he just decided, well, I haven't been tackled. Why should I just fall down like they have been doing? So I'm just going to keep running. And then what do you know? You have a 40-yard gain. Mm-hmm. It's just, that's the part that drives me absolutely crazy. And we didn't finish plays, and they were not going to go down unless we finished the plays. And that just showed a totally different mentality than what we had. Mm-hmm. And so if your defense, who's normally leading the charge for your team, is going to play timidly and they're going to play overwhelmed, it's going to just, that's it. Here's the thing. If we would have made, giving up that touchdown right before the half was that was the dagger, because then it comes back out. They do another long drive, score a touchdown, and now we've cut it to one possession. We're now down 3 touchdowns, and that's a wrap. And even if you go down and score right there, you have zero confidence the defense is going to stop them again because they can't stop them. They literally could do whatever they wanted. So, you're going to have days like this. This isn't the end of the world. We're not the worst team in the league. Don't think people are jumping off cliffs or anything like that. But it's just a measuring stick of showing when a good team is playing focused and well, you cannot go out there and there's no room for error. Tony, I really actually enjoyed the commentary today because Tony Romo was just so honest. He was just Denver has no room for error. Jaquan McMillan, you can, or Jaleel McLaughlin, you cannot run out of bounds there. You cannot do it. Can't do it. And
people don't realize how much that killed us. That was that was such, and I'm really happy that he pointed it out because I was sitting there screaming, "What is he doing?" He was saying the same thing. Yeah. Because it was, that's the difference between, us going into half down 7 or down 14 period. Because if that doesn't happen, we get the ball back. I mean, we give them the ball with maybe 10, 15 seconds. And what's even more frustrating is what follows it up afterwards is Bo gets that run. He evades the rush. He scores a touchdown with his legs. And it was a terrible call on Bowles. I don't care what anybody says, but you also can't do that. The guys, it's a safety, bro. Just push him to the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or just reroute.
And then he scores that. And then at that point, Sean Payton's thinking, well, they got a timeout, so we might as well go. But if they didn't have a timeout, they're definitely running the ball there, and they're at least ensuring that they kick the field goal to kill the clock. So it was that was such a terrible sequence of events there.
Yeah, and
then and then missing Sutton on that 4th and short. I mean, I do love the call. It was a little bit aggressive, but I like the aggression. But it's missing Sutton there just kills you. And then just like you said, Javonte Williams, dude, get the first down. I didn't like that play call though, but get the first down. It's man, and it's frustrating. And one more thing I just wanted to point out, because we talked about earlier about the lack of talent or the lack of talent at the skills, the receiver, the skill position. In and of itself, it's funny. You watch all these other games. I was watching Seahawks Rams, right? Rams receivers, running backs, all better than ours. Seahawks receivers, running back, all better than ours. You watch the two teams tonight with the Colts and the Vikings. All their receivers and skill sets better than us. I know that our roster was ranked at the bottom of the league, and I think that there's a lot of guys, especially defensively and on the O line. There's no way you can say we're the worst, but from a skill set position, dude, there's not many teams that I would take.
We got no star power, man. We got no star power.
It's crazy. And I was thinking about it too. The Ravens have 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and I'll say 1 wide receiver for sure. That are with Deontay now, 2 wide receivers that are better than any wide receivers, tight ends, running backs that we have. They've got 2 in every single position. I mean, that's crazy. Justice Hill is better than any running back we have on our team. He's the backup.
Yeah.
Likely and Andrews way better than our tight ends. Deontay Johnson, Zay Flowers, not even a comparison. It's pretty wild. So
Nelson Aguilar is better than probably everybody we got except maybe Cortland Sutton. But I might even argue that Aguilar is just right there, man.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's not like I'm trying to throw excuses. I think it's important to realize that because this is a roster that's a product of so many years of incompetence. Dude. It's not like this just happens in one season. So we have to keep remembering that we got to build this thing, and it's going to take a while, man. You know how long it took for the Ravens haven't won a Super Bowl. They've been trying to build this roster for 7 years. They got to this point.
Yeah.
So it's not an overnight fix, and I think it's important to remember that.
And this team that we just got smashed by can't get past Kansas City. Year after year, can't get past them.
Let's hope they do it this year.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I hope so. I would love that. Dude. I'm rooting for Baltimore. I was talking about it to some buddies, and I have actually some really big time clients of mine that are huge Ravens fans. We were talking about it before the game. I was like, guys, after this week, you better believe I'll be rooting for the Ravens and the Bills, because as long as it means that the Chiefs don't go, I'm good. And yeah, this comment section, by the way, is fire right now. This is killing me.
It's hilarious, man.
I'm having a good time with that.
But yeah, I want to see Lamar, man. I want to see him win a Super Bowl. Of course, as long as it's not KC, I'll be happy. But I think he's a great quarterback. He played like a 2-time MVP today. And, he sliced us like butter, man. And we just took our butt whooping. We didn't complain about them running up the score. They didn't have to beat us by 31, but they did. You know, we're not going all Carolina Panthers CJ Horn on them. But man, sorry for interrupting you, Jeremy. I know you had a thought.
I was just gonna finish my thought on the Tony Romo thing. I really appreciate watching him, because how many times today did he show a replay and they were showing the route run, and he's like, keep running, what are you doing, why wouldn't you cut in there, like, come on. And it was like, thank you, someone actually watching our skill set position people just do God knows what. And then they'll blame it on Bo, like, oh, he missed him because the guy stopped, or he missed him because he's barely putting one hand out there, letting the guy do a full 360 and catch back up to him. Like, what the heck? So I did really appreciate the fact that, you know, people who watch our team, and I've seen so many, excuse me, so many Baltimore fans today being like, dude, that Bo Nix can play. Oh my gosh, like, you guys got something there. But like that, but Denver fans are like, you got to do it all. Everything's got to be exactly.
You got to catch the touchdown passes.
I know. He's got to lead us in running. He's got to lead us. He's got to catch the football, and he's got to. It's unbelievable. But yeah, that was one thing where you're finally like, thank you for pointing it out on national television that our skilled guys don't know what they're doing at all. And it was so. It was refreshing to finally like see it. Somebody pointed it out. but yeah, it was here's what I was thinking, like, where do we go from here? Do we want to just go with the young guys at this point and just say, let's just develop them? Or are we trying to like squeeze every last ounce out of Cortland Sutton and Josh Reynolds and those guys? I don't know.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a really good question. I mean, I think for me, you never know who's available for trade and you know, all that kind of stuff. But I've always been a proponent of play the young dudes, man. But not like I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with Marvin Mims, right? And Lil Jordan Humphrey's not a young guy. I'm been done with him. Like, he shouldn't be on the team starting tomorrow morning if it was up to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm all about seeing what you got with Troy Franklin, getting A.T. Perry going, you know, even if it means like David Sills and all that kind of stuff, or like involve Vele more, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of that, because I think if you're going to rebuild, you embrace the rebuild. I don't think that playing the veterans is going to mean that we win games that we would have lost had we played the young guys anyways. I think we're still good enough and well coached enough to be able to scrap away some wins and potentially make a playoff run with or without these veterans that are doing nothing. You know, just like you guys said, Lil Jordan Humphrey, he was brought on this team because he's a good blocker. He can't block in the run game. He's not even good at blocking a wide receiver screens. And I don't really care if you're a good blocker. Like, if you can't catch the ball, then like, get off the team. You know, it's like you benched Dulcich because he couldn't block, but he was at least like dynamic in the pass game to an extent. I mean, he's at least shown that. And then you end up replacing him with guys that can block, but like they can't catch. So what's the point at this, you know, right now? So I don't know. It's if it was up to me, man, if I was choosing, no doubt about it, I would say roll with the young guys. Let me see what they got. Unless there's some sort of a game-changing type of trade available at the trade deadline. It's just those things are so fluid and so tough to predict. So, you know, we kind of got to take it as it comes more than anything.
Yeah, I want to get rid, or at least make inactive, all of our veterans who don't add anything. So yeah, Lil Jordan Humphrey out of here. Now Javonte, he's great at pass protection. That's why he's on the field. But I would still like to see more of the young guys, man. Blake Watson. Let's see more of Audric Estime, you know, what they can do, you know, starting a game or something like that. And then when it comes to the wide receivers, I mean, I'm praying for Josh Reynolds to get back here, man. I never thought like I would want him this bad. You guys put in the comments, man. We missed Tim Patrick. Heck, after today, I'll say it, man. I miss Jerry Jeudy, and I hated Jerry Jeudy. Like that's how I feel about it. But like Marvin Mims, like I feel like at this point we can't trust him to run the right route, and we can't even expect him to run it with intention. Like as Tony Romo pointed out, like this guy's running like lazy routes, and you've seen him loaf multiple times throughout this year on plays where he should have had it, man. So yeah, you bring up A.T. Perry. It can't get any worse. I mean, who's third wide receiver, which in a sense is, little Jordan Humphrey. What other team in the NFL is, playing their third wide receiver primarily because his best skill is blocking? Like, I can't think of it. And it's the drop passes, it's the drop touchdowns, it's the fumbling. At this point, man, like there has to be some sort of shakeup, because unless, like, if we're just going to roll out this same group that we have done the last 2 weeks, I think it, like, you can talk about accountability, but there hasn't been accountability for these guys' poor play at all. Again, Hunter Renfrow is available. Michael Thomas is available. I'll take Michael Thomas right now over all the guys that we got for a play, maybe outside of Cortland Sutton and Josh Reynolds. I mean, I'll definitely take Michael Thomas over Lil Jordan Humphrey. I don't care about the blocking, but that's what I would like to see, is just still give Marvin Mims some chances, I guess. See what Troy Franklin can do, but man, like Darius Slayton on this team, I feel like would be a savior. And I don't understand Keegan Ragnar coming in here with this question. Maybe you guys can answer this. Why is the chemistry with Bo and Franklin so off on this deep ball, man? Like, what the heck is going on? Is it I don't really have thoughts. Jeremy, Mark, what do you guys think about this question?
Today's throw, he rushed it a little bit, but that was on Bo a little bit. He rushed it. But you shouldn't probably be throwing those on fourth down. I have zero confidence that Troy Franklin would have caught it because he hasn't caught one yet. But he's put it in his breadbasket twice, and he literally didn't even touch it, which is, I don't even know how it's even possible. I don't know how it goes through your wrist. Like, I've never seen that before. So I think I think Franklin is still, he's 21. I think Sean Payton's playbook is so vast and so like different. I think he's drinking from a fire hose, and I think he just needs a little more seasoning. Honestly, I'm less worried about Franklin and more worried about Mims, because the thing about that comment earlier about how Bo Nix has better, like, he's a better wide receiver in traffic than any guy we got. That's not false. That is, I don't understand how pro wide receivers have zero spatial awareness. Like, how do you come up, like Javonte Williams, how do you not lean the ball forward when you know exactly where you need to get the ball? Cortland Sutton, how do you not know where the end zone is? The thing that I watched people my whole life, the Rod Smiths, the Ed McCaffreys, dude, you know who this team would absolutely love and need at this point is just somebody like Emmanuel Sanders.
Yep.
Somebody who just gives you every single thing he's got, every single route, and he's going 100 miles an hour every single play. We got no one like that. We got people that look like old men, and then we got people that don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And Marvin Mims, like, what the heck? Just zero spatial awareness. Like, Tony Romo was like, dude, you can see, come in. Like, you're on that route. The guy's right there. Why don't you come in? Both trying to throw him. He's trying to throw him open. And Marvin Mims, remember last week, he's just like running down the middle of the road. Was the ball going to come to me? I had no idea. It's crazy. I mean, I guess you can keep him for special teams, but as a receiver, man, I don't know. This is year 3, and it just doesn't feel like progress is being made. I can give
Isn't this year
rookies a
2
little bit
for
of a
him?
leeway.
This is year 2 for Mims.
Is this 2? Well, it feels like it's been 5.
Isn't
But-
it? Isn't it, Mark?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I remember because we traded up for him, which that's looking bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it should, like Bo Nix
I think
caught
a
that
lot of
ball and knew exactly where the ball needed to land to score.
Right.
Yeah.
He knew how
And
to
it was
run the route better.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, that's somebody who is spatially aware of where he is, and it's insane that our receivers do not have that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too. I mean, and Romo pointed out a lot of great things. I agree with you earlier about like the differences between like like average teams and good and great teams is that they do the little things well. Obviously,
Yeah.
we do a lot of the little things very poorly. I think the thing with Mims, like for me, what I think of more than anything is, I think that the way we utilize him is just not good for him. Like I know that a lot of the things that you're saying is very simple NFL stuff, and yes, that shouldn't be taken away. And by no means do I think that he's like gonna have potential to be like this elite wide receiver. But I'd like to see us use him in different ways. Like he's such a good and dynamic return man. Why can't we use him more out of the backfield? More, just in those shorter kind of, mesh type concepts where he's running, running across the route, the field, and you get the ball in his hands in space, and he can go out there and make plays. Like that's such a more natural way to get him the ball. Also, if he's not able to run these, post routes or these dig routes or these comebacks, why are you having him do it? It's there's a lot of that frustration too. But I'm currently eating all my sorrows away. Nothing will make you feel better than I've been like eating like a pig today. I just feel hungry, but so excuse that while I do that. But
Oh man, you're good, Mark.
but yeah, I think I agree with a lot of things that you said there, Jeremy. I thought that it was just a piss poor performance all around, and I was really appreciative that Tony Romo pointed a lot of that out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Colorado's kind of bringing us back, which I think, this is a great question here. After this game, do you think Bo Nix is continuing to progress? And I think so. I think Zach Seeger said earlier today when I talked with him, he's like, he looked like an NFL quarterback today. The stat sheet's going to show that he threw an interception, but and he had a couple of throws that were, off target, but in my opinion, still we should have seen a diving effort from a couple of these wide receivers, with that. But to see him throwing downfield, I mean, there were a ton of plays where I feel like they went around 15 air yards. I like to see him throwing downfield, but, again, when your quarterback's your best quarterback, wide receiver, and running back in the same game,
Literally,
it's just not going to work out, man. But
yeah.
ultimately, like, I had this video earlier this week talking about how Bo Nix is going to be the reason why we win this game. What I had totally forgot about is that everybody else could be the reason why we lose. And Bo Nix brought it, but nobody else really brought it, at the skill positions. And then, defense was a collective effort.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think he's made tremendous progress. I think he's looked really, really good. Obviously, he's had his moments where you'd like him to be more accurate and not feel like he's rushing. But the dude is out there playing his ass off. He's going through his progressions a lot better. Man, even, at the end in the garbage time, even though I was really happy that the Ravens weren't playing prevent defense on us because it was a good test, but he was moving the ball down. We get into the red zone. He's manipulating the pocket. He's moving. He's buying himself time. And there is not a person even close to being open. So there's a lot of that frustrations with the skill set, but I've been so pleased with the progress that he's made. And if anybody is wondering that in Broncos country, or maybe there's a lot of Bo haters out there too. Colorado, I'm not saying you are one. I'm sure you're not just for asking that question. But go look at Caleb Williams right now. Go look at what he's doing, because you can make the argument that he's been regressing. And a lot of the times you sometimes will see that with rookies, because they'll come into the league. There's some things that they're really good at, and then when defenses adjust, they kind of fail to adjust. Bo Nix has done the opposite. He's continuously been growing and growing and growing. And I don't put this game on him at all. I think he was the of the 46 players were active, and probably, I don't know, maybe 30 played. I think he was probably problem number 29, 28. And that's not even me being like a Bo Nix lover. I just think that there was so much around him that were bad. And at the worst times. It seems like the Broncos do bad, dumb shit at the worst times. That's another thing,
And that's why you got to cut those dudes that are always doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Thoughts, Jeremy?
No, I was texting you guys during the game, and I was like, dude, I can't even believe some of the plays Bo Nix is actually pulling out. I mean, the escape, the fact that he's finding guys, like, he was getting zero help whatsoever, and he was still the guy is just an ultimate competitor. And it made me nervous, because it was like I almost want to like take him out when when the other team has a big lead, because at that point nothing good can happen. Like, if he gets hurt, what are we doing? Like, then the whole season just nothing.
Yeah.
But I knew he was going to compete his butt off all the way to the last whistle. That's who he is. And I love the way he takes it like a man in the press conference afterwards. He makes zero excuses. He throws zero people under the bus from his own team. And no, I mean, he's 100% progressing. Now, he's a rookie. He's still got to learn more. But all these people that are like, oh, he's got a low ceiling because he played 5 years in college or whatever, dude, forget all of that, because this guy walked into the hardest of Lions dens you could possibly walk into today at Baltimore, of a team that is pissed off that they lost last week, to an offense that is playing perfectly against, we're supposed to be the number one defense, and they're absolutely shredding us like we're not even there. And their defense was stopping the run completely, and he did not blink whatsoever. I thought he stood in there and made some really tough, tight window throws to people. I mean, we had higher, for a long part of that game, we were like leading them in yards. So we don't have people that can make dynamic plays and get touchdowns and finish drives. But man, yeah, he's absolutely playing so well, I thought. And that's exciting. It's just, we just have to get him help.
If only. It's like the Bears and the Broncos, they have like the opposite problems, because, Bears, terrible coaching staff. All my Bears friends texted me this today, which is crazy. Matt Eberflus doesn't have a road victory in his 2.5 years at being the head coach of the Bears. That's crazy. Insane.
That is
just
so
crazy. But the supporting cast, if Bo Nix had that supporting cast right now, oh my gosh, on this team, that would just be insane. But yeah, next year we're going to get the help for him again. I would love to see us bring in some help for him by Tuesday. Again, the Jags lost again. That's real nice.
Is the deadline this Tuesday?
Yeah. Election day.
So it's like a crazy ass day, man. Did you guys
ratings drop?
I'm assuming Jeremy, you saw it, but did you get a chance to see the post game from Bo, David?
I didn't watch it. I just watched Sean Payton's.
Dude, so it was crazy because Sean Payton was like in a better mood than he was after they lost. Yeah. I think he was kind of like, this is what I've been telling the team, and this is what happens. Yep. But I was so happy to see how pissed Bo was. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He came out there in his pads. He was just like, dude, stop with these stupid questions. Because I can't even remember the last time I think it just brought me back, and maybe a lot of Broncos fans would be able to relate to me on this. But what really always made me the most mad about this team in the last like 8-9 years of just misery that we've been in is that every time we lose, it didn't seem like anyone cared. Like rarely, you would rarely get emotion. You know, I don't want to bring Russ back up, but like the last 2 years of Russ, he'd like have a dog shit game. We would lose like a heartbreaker, and he would be like all positive, optimistic, and it
Oh,
would
glory to
drive me
God.
up the walls, dude. It would drive me up the walls. And so to see the quarterback, who's a rookie, who's trying to become the leader on this team, I think he obviously already is leader on this team. He's like, mad and showing this emotion. It's just so refreshing to me. I mean, I know it's something small, but it's such a good feeling because that's the kind of culture that we need to reinstate. I really believe that there's still so many guys that just like, oh, they lose, like, oh, whatever. Like kind of like the guy that was in the comments earlier, whatever, Dolce, whatever. He's like, we lost, let's move on, type of thing. Like, that's how we had a lot of betas like that on the team, and so
Yeah.
I'm wanting a little bit more of that that alpha mentality. So I did like that. So if you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. It was really good.
Yeah, I saw Jonathan Cooper's clip, man, and he seemed, like I thought he came off pretty pissed off, and
he's one of those guys. I love Coop.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited, man, because again, I feel like my goal going into this 3-game stretch was just to go 1-2, and that's like a really good outcome, I feel like, for this 3-game stretch. And I think we have a really interesting opportunity to go into Kansas City. Remind me, was Kansas City the game? Did we win the game in Kansas City last year?
Yeah.
Or was it at home?
Oh,
dang it. Well, let's go get that victory in Kansas City
Russ
then that we didn't get last year.
He had like 82 yards passing, and the Chiefs had the flu. The whole team had the flu.
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
But no, I like our chances a lot. I mean, I know it sounds crazy because we just got our ass kicked, but trust me, we match up a lot better against the Chiefs than we do the Ravens.
And we'll rebound
a lot better. And it doesn't mean that the Ravens are better than the Chiefs. Football is a lot about matchups, and we match up a lot better against the Chiefs than we did the Ravens. So I'm excited to turn the page on this one.
Yeah.
Mark, you were speaking my language with all that. Bo Nix after the game. He's a competitor. That's what it is. Like, a lot of people keep talking about, I listen to a lot of sports stuff, and people are like, you think Michael Jordan could beat Bronny James right now? I put my money on Michael Jordan because that dude's heart is just like, he's a competitor. He will die or lose. Like, that's it. And I love the fact that Bo Nix is not happy just to be here. And there are so many people on our team that are just happy to be here. And they're not going to be here that much longer.
Because it's the only team they can play on in the NFL.
Some of them, that's absolutely true.
I think they'll be on some practice squads, but
maybe.
But guys, do you think this is a good question here from Joe about Greg Dulcich again, inactive? Is it just like a dead money thing? Like, is that why we're not doing it? I mean, we still got $6 million in cap. Are we like waiting to move on from him to see if we could bring in somebody with the cap room that we have left for Tuesday? Like, to me, I'm just thinking that might be it, because he would be more dead money than cutting somebody like old Jordan.
They might be looking to try. I mean, it sounds crazy, but maybe we can trade him. Maybe there's a team out there that's like, shoot, we don't care if he can block. Like, why not? You saw it with Albert Okwuegbunam. I mean, he hasn't really played since then, but
can we train for cash considerations? Is that even a thing in the NFL? Because I think that's the most what we're getting for Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, cash considerations. I don't think so. Isn't that a baseball and an NBA thing?
Yeah,
that's awesome. Though. Cash considerations. Yeah, that would be. It's like we'll pay you to take them off our hands. To be honest.
Do you think he can get better get adequate enough as a blocker to become like at least on the field? Can he get some run? Because we have our tight ends played well last week, but that was the 1 week out of the whole entire season they played well. Like, can we? I'd like to know.
You can probably play the big slot better than Lil Jordan.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
And I mean, you got to feel for the guy because he's been in this is his third year in the league. His first 2 seasons, he was just trying to come back from injury. He hasn't even had a chance to like develop as a blocker. So it's like for me, it's like, okay, if you can't block, I don't care at this point. Like, can you bring a dynamic piece to our offense? And if
Parham
so,
can't block,
figure it out.
right? He's not known as being a blocker. The dude's just like 6'8". Go up and get it.
yeah.
I think like PFF graded him pretty decent as a blocker, but like I don't think he's by any means known as that. Because if that was the case, I think he would have been on the Chargers roster for sure. Because they love those blocking tight ends.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he's out of sight, out of mind right now for the coaching staff. But what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. But yeah, I want to see some changes here for Kansas City. I'm excited to see how we bounce back. I mean, you saw the Panthers and Bryce Young, man, beating the Saints with Derek Carr. Crazy, man. By the way, man, I would kill to even just get what's their tight end, Juwan Johnson over here, man. If they're gonna sell him, that
I think they're selling
dude,
a lot.
he's such a big upgrade over
I think their coach might be gone. Yeah, Juwan Johnson's a stud.
Yeah. But man, I don't know, man. We can't just run back this wide receiver core again after one of these games. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, positives again from Bo Nix. No ducks thrown. He wasn't thrown in between receivers this game, like was throwing on target for the most part. And now we need some guys like I saw Devontae Smith just make an insane catch from Jalen Hurts in the end zone today. I hope we can find a wide receiver with our first round pick, sign one in free agency, and maybe even get started right now with train for one on Tuesday. But guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are hilarious. You guys are insightful as well. This is a lot of fun doing every Sunday, win or lose. But let's close it off with just, I guess, closing remarks, last thoughts. We'll start with you, Jeremy, and then we'll go to Mark.
Yeah. Today felt like Miami game last year. Maybe not quite as bad. Yeah. But it was ugly. That being said, it was a measuring stick game. We figured out exactly where we're at, and I don't think it. I'm still very optimistic about this team. I still think this team can make the playoffs. I think sometimes these are the best games for you, is just taking out back behind the woodshed and just, get the crap kicked out of you. And, it sobers you up a little bit. And, it seemed like Sean Payton, week after week, I was telling his team, look, if you keep effing around, you're going to find out. And we just found out. So, I think this is going to be interesting to see how the defense responds, because they haven't had a game like this. But, we'll know within the first quarter of this Chiefs game of what type of team we are. If we respond and we're playing really, really tough, then I think this is a playoff team, and, there's a lot of positives you can take. If we come out and look flat after what just happened, then I think this team doesn't have very much heart, and we probably won't make the playoffs. So, yeah, we're at a crossroads right now, I think, mentally. And personally, I think we're going to respond, but we'll see. And, yeah, these are tough. These are always tough games, but it's not the end of the world. It's one game, and it's a game that nobody expected us to win. And, sometimes in these types of games, if you lose off a last-second field goal, they hurt worse than just getting blown out. Sometimes you're just like, I would rather the team just to blow us out. And you learn lessons in losses more than you learn in wins. So we had a lot of lessons to learn, and we learned them. Hopefully we'll learn them, and, I think we'll be all right.
Yep.
Mark?
No, agreed. I mean, for me, it's it's turning the page. You're focusing on Kansas City. You put a lot there on tape that you understand that you need to fix. I think a lot of the lip service that the players might have thought that Sean Payton was giving them a lot of lip service, but this week they proved that there wasn't lip service. One thing that this team has shown is that when there's adversity, when they lose, they usually bounce back pretty good. We have an opportunity to do it, but we're still 5-4, guys. We have a chance to go 6-4 against a division opponent. Anybody that said that at the beginning of the year, at this time, you're gonna take that 100% of the time.
Yes.
So I don't really care how we lose. At the end of the day, it's a week by week thing always, and we just need to remember that. It's very cliche, but it's extremely true. So I'm feeling good. Hopefully we can cut little Jordan Humphrey tomorrow, and we can be on our way, man, to being happy. To be honest, I'm almost at the point where like I would be okay with like us maybe losing to the Chiefs if it meant cutting little Jordan Humphrey. Maybe maybe not to that extent, but it'd be like that would be like a mini win for me. That sounds so crude, like so like crazy mean. You know what I mean? Because you don't want somebody to get fired, but I'm just over it.
No, but I do think that, I mean, it's an interesting point because I think it would send a strong message to the locker room that everybody knows Lil Jordan Humphrey's on this team because he's Sean's guy. And if Sean Payton is like, I don't care if you're my guy or not, you're not getting it done, so you're out. I think that would be a strong message to the locker room.
Well,
and the other thing I will say real quick is there's certain teams you lose to that you're like, ooh, I wouldn't mind seeing them again in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, for one, would be very juicy. I don't ever want to play Baltimore the rest of my life. The way we play Baltimore, it's unbelievable. But
no, we never win.
I just, man, Baltimore just, I don't know what it is. When they were the Browns, we owned them. And then they moved to Baltimore and can't do nothing.
Yeah, we can only beat them in September. That's really how it feels. But my final thought was that with what you were saying, Mark, about if we lose to the Chiefs, cutting old Jordan Humphrey, I want a message to be sent after this game. So my final thought is I would love to see some shuffling of the back end of the active roster and get some guys in here who are really chomping at the bit, not just happy to be here, but are dying for their opportunity to get on the field. So let's shake it up at tight end a little bit. Let's shake it up here at wide receiver, maybe running back, right? Let's change the energy because we've kept it the same how many games in a row, and we've still gotten the same crappy result from the skill positions. Let's change up this energy a little bit and see if we can't find some nice lightning in a bottle here towards the end of the season, and of course go make a move. But very excited to see how we go against the Chiefs this next week. Again, this 3-game stretch, 1-2 was my goal. So we're starting out 0-1. Let's see how we play moving forward. But yeah, hey, want to give a quick shout out before we wrap up? Oh, Jeremy, did you have?
I was just going to ask who the Chiefs play tomorrow?
They played the
Bucks.
The Bucks. Okay.
Bucks. Yeah, Bucks. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I want to shout out Kodiak Broncos podcast. He had a great post game today, and he also did like a really cool film room earlier this week, guys. So he's at 44 subs. So anybody listening, we got almost 200 people here. So please go check out Kodiak Broncos as well, and like and subscribe. Not only to our shows here, guys. Yeah, definitely. Go check out Kodiak. And yeah, guys, really do appreciate it. We're here every Sunday night talking Broncos. And so we'll be back to talk about after the Chiefs game, how that goes. And yeah, again, please like and subscribe. Mark, anything in particular coming out on your channel, which is in the description of my video, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate that. Just going to break down this game. Hopefully we'll have some trade deadline news to break down as well. So excited about that, and we'll start talking about the Chiefs, and we will get into more Nuggets and more app stuff as well as the week goes on too, man. But appreciate all you guys. Always enjoy doing this with you fellas, and all you guys in the comments are always great. So super appreciated. And Kodiak Broncos, I just hit that subscribe button, man. I wish you luck. It's a fun journey, man. So best of luck to you.
It really is. Guys, thank you so much, Broncos country. Really appreciate you guys as always. I'll be back with video, probably talking about Kerry Colbert tomorrow because, I'll just need a dedicated video for that one. So y'all be on the lookout for that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Good night.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Really do appreciate it.